Thanks, Jeff, for that very interesting recollection. I'm not so sure about these driverless cars, though. I don't think that's going to work with me. But anyway, I'm stuck in the like my kids say, my grandkids get into the 21st century, Grandpa. I still have my flip-top phone, which I get reminded every time I use it that on the 5th of July it won't work anymore. So I got to get down to Ray Hall's and make a change. Our next speaker is somebody that has probably had his hands on more heads over the years than most people. Irvine Gross has cut hair in this community for 50 years, up until, otherwise known as Civ. You know, he was the goalie for the, probably the, well, I don't know, I better be careful. Long-serving goalie anyway for the Watrous, used to be the
Warriors.
Yeah. Anyway, Irv's going to come and tell us a few of his experiences over the years. Irvine Gross.
Thanks, Murray. When I prepared this a week ago, then I got our daughter Trina to type it out so I could read it. And I got reading it and I thought, God, this looks like my obituary. But it's kind of my life story. So I'll start out, I moved to Watrous with my parents in 1953. In 1957, I started my first job at the Watrous Dairy, and the wages were 65 cents an hour. Then in 1959, I went to the dam site at Outlook, and the wages went all the way up to $1.25. We thought that was pretty good money. Then I got homesick from my girlfriend, who I eventually married, Carol, so I quit my job and started working at the Watrous Bakery for Clarence Ginter. And the bakery was where the seniors drop-in center is now. Carol and I got married in November of '61, and we lived on top of the bakery, so it was pretty hard, especially when I was playing hockey for the Watrous Warriors. We wouldn't get home until after midnight, and it was pretty tough to get up out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to work at 3. Our coach at the time was Bill Dreger. Some of you will probably remember him. And he had the barber shop on 2nd Avenue East, and Chuck Mikulski had the other barber shop on Main Street. Prior to these two barbers, Lloyd Humphrey and Archie Wilson. Lloyd Humphreys was in Jack's pool room. So anyway, one day Bill asked me if I would be interested in going to barber school and buying his business. So in April of 1962, I went to barber school in Regina, Moeller's Barber School, which was an American firm. So in the fall of '62, Carol and I bought Bill's barber shop. My first day of work was October 30th, 1962. I remember my first customer was Ed Kirkham, who owned Kirkham's Hardware on Main Street. Haircut prices were 75 cents for adults and 50 for kids. So after the first day of work, I made $6.50. And our mortgage was $96 a month. So I was wondering how we were going to ever get paid out. But business eventually got better. until the Beatle craze hit in 1968. That's when everybody wanted to look like the Beatles. So business fell off drastically, and I worked nights at the CN bunkhouse to earn some extra money. But I was running on about 4 hours sleep a day, and it was wearing me out. So in 1974, the Barbers Association of Saskatchewan was offering hairstyling classes so we could properly know how to handle long hair. At that time, one of my instructors offered me a job at the Golden Mile Plaza in Regina, which had 7 or 8 chairs in it. But we didn't want to move from Watrous. I often think about that decision. It's a good thing we stayed where we were. After our new training, business kept improving, and in 1992, Chuck Mikulski quit, retired. So I got most of his customers to move over to my business. And we had 20-something years of great business, as well as the fact that short hair came back into style. I've been very fortunate to have such a good business in such a great town as Watrous. Over the 51 years that I was in business, I've had the privilege of cutting 4 generations on some families. To name a few, Westbys and Sproles, Engels, Marks. I've probably left a few out. But the decision we made to come back in 1974 was the right one, as Watrous was an ideal place for Carol and I to raise our 4 kids. It's a great town, and thanks to the many loyal customers over the years, I can't think of a better place to have been barbering. Now, I think I'm going to take a minute. Karen asked me if I had a couple of stories. I've got one for sure. It happened in the 70s. As most people know, I'm quite a Montreal Canadian fan. And it was playoffs in, must have been in March. Jack Isbell came in for a haircut. And the night before, Philadelphia beat Montreal out of the playoffs. So Jack was bugging me. And I'm cutting away on his hair, and he's bugging me so bad I just couldn't finish it. I said, "That's it, you're done." So anyway, that night at supper time, the phone rings, and it's Irene, Jack's wife. She phoned Carol and said, "What was Irvine and Jack doing at the barbershop today?" So I explained it, and I said, "Well, he ticked me off so bad I couldn't finish him. So I went home with half a haircut." But he came back the next day, and we finished it. We didn't talk about hockey, we just talked about fishing and something. So that's the only story that really stands out there. Thanks a lot.